Hi everyone, this is Ashwini. Welcome to CKA Cert Hands-On channel. Today's the purpose of my channel is to get people who want to give CKA 2025 exam get started on their hands-on journey by solving more scenarios and understanding the concepts at depth. Serve that purpose, I have created hands-on videos on each category of CKA exam in storage, troubleshooting, and networking. Today is a video in workloads and scheduling. We will be trying to understand the application deployments and how to perform rolling update and rollbacks. In my previous video, we have seen how to run stateless applications using deployments. Now, how we can run stateful applications using deployments, but it is a stateful set. We will try to get started with this exercise. So let's try to understand. You have this page shows how to run a single instance stateful application in Kubernetes using a persistent volume and a deployment. Okay, this is not stateful set, this is deployment using deployment. But we are running a stateful application using deployment and persistent volume. But here I think the type will be, if you look at the strategy, there will be a type recreate. So even though we're using deployment, we're using the type recreate so that it is not a rolling update. When you are updating it, the pod, that existing pod will be removed before creating. The recreate strategy will stop the first pod before creating a new one. So you can't have like a rolling update because it is stateful. So what we need to do is create a persistent volume referencing a disk in your environment, create a MySQL deployment, expose MySQL to other pods in the cluster at a known DNS name using a service. So now you can do all of these things with the KillerCoda environment. I have a video I am doing it locally using, I have created Kubernetes using Minikube. I have a video of how to install Minikube. It is quite easy, just get the binary and install it. So I have it Minikube running in my local Docker desktop, and Kubernetes is running. So let's try to get started how to do the deploy MySQL, which uses a persistent volume that references a disk on your local, and we also have to expose it, but also we need to it is a stateful set, remember that. So we'll try to attempt it in sections. One of the first things is to create the volume, right? Persistent volume. Create the persistent volume so that it is available on your local disk. So it is a persistent volume, which the storage class is manual, 20 gigs. I'll just store it. Okay, we'll keep it to 20 gigs because I don't know what problems I'll have. And the path is mount data. I don't have the path because the root directory is not writable on Mac. So I've created a mount directory here. Creating a data, pwd. So this is the path that I will be using. Let's see. All my YAML files are here. So it's created the persistent volume now. Now we have to create a volume claim so that it can be so that the deployment can use this persistent volume claim to request for a volume. And because there is a volume that matches these requirements present in the PVC, a persistent volume claim, it will use that volume. But we are not directly using the volume, we're using persistent volume claim to request for a volume. So it's the same thing, I'm just copy pasting it. I am creating the okay, now we have the volume part that is created. So just want to describe the volume. So it's bound. Oh, looks good. Now we need to create our MySQL deployment. We'll create the service later. First we need to create the deployment and see how it has I'll just go through the manifest. So it's a MySQL deployment. It's using the MySQL container. Now look, and it is referencing the volume, MySQL persistent volume storage, and it's using the claim that we're using. Now inside the container, it is mounting at the path this volume. This is mounting this volume, MySQL persistent storage, at the path var lib MySQL. Okay. And it's got some environment variables where the secret port container port is 3306. Okay, this is, and it needs using an environment variable to use a MySQL root password. Maybe the root username is available in the image itself. So what I want to change here is do it the proper way, use a secret. So let's go to secrets. Just need to check what is the type. So we will use this command, this define an environment variable as a secret, key value parent secret. Okay. Let's try this one. So I want to look at what is the, it's my root password and password. Just need to okay. So I'm creating a secret. Generic, I'm guessing that is a common one, backend user. So my SQL password minus from literal equal to name is my SQL root password equal to password. Okay, it has created the secret. Now let's look at describe the secret. Yeah, so it is, you cannot see the password now. You need to use the secret in your deployment. So how do you use it is this. You have to give your secret value from secret key reference, name of the secret, and the key that you want to reference. Okay, so my secret is my SQL password and key is the same key. So let's try in the environment. Name is my SQL root password. So I'll delete this line. Just get the, so here the name of the secret is my SQL password and the data, well, the name of the environment variable and the key is the same here. So basically the environment variable MySQL root password is getting the value from the by referencing the key MySQL root password in the secret that with name called MySQL password. So we have done it the proper way, not using and let's try to create the deployment now. So it's created, it's working. It's still container is creating. Now I will try to describe the deployment MySQL while the container is creating. Yeah, so it has one replica. So it's getting the MySQL root password from MySQL and secret MySQL, which is password. It can be anything you want to set, and it's using port 3306. labels app equal to MySQL, and if I do a get pods, I should have one running. So MySQL is now running. Now the next thing is so MySQL is running on this pod on 3306, right? Now we need to expose this using a service so that people can, it's like a discovery, instead of accessing the deployment, you access it using a service. So we need to create a service, and if you go here, this is the service. And if you see the selector, what it is doing is it's pointing to app equal to MySQL, which is the same label for the deployment that we have, MySQL deployment that we have created. So we will create the service and expose it to the deployment. Okay, the service is created. So by default it's a cluster IP and it's running on this thing. Now we want to access our instance. So we have created a MySQL deployment, we have created the persistent volume referencing, and then we expose MySQL to other pods in the cluster at a known DNS name. Now this is searchable from other instances can connect to using this service, and how they can do it is we will show you now. So now how do other pods access this MySQL instance? So the preceding YAML file creates a service that allows other pods in the cluster to access the database. The service option cluster ID, cluster IP none, lets the service DNS name resolve directly to the pod's IP address. This is optimal when you have only one pod behind us, if you don't intend to increase the number of pods. Okay, now run a MySQL client to connect to the server. So this is creating a temporary server. When you do run -it and use a MySQL image and -restart never, so that will just run once and then removes it once you execute it. And then after the -- you can give the command that you want to use MySQL host is MySQL and the password is password. Let's try that. So I want to try with exec instead of run, because generally I use exec. -form -image equal to MySQL 9 -restart never, and you have to give the name of the pod here. So this one is a client, MySQL client, and after the -- you will actually MySQL host is MySQL, and -p password. Okay, maybe exec is not a correct one. I have to give run. Because we don't have the pod existing. Yeah, so we're able to enter it. Okay, so I did like a small command and it shows it has a MySQL database. So that is how you run a MySQL server and run it on a particular port in the pod and expose that using a deployment and also using a local volume. Also now you're exposing the deployment using a service and you are connecting from a different pod uh, using that service. So here when you are saying -h MySQL, that is running, but that is nothing but your service that you are referencing to. So you are not using any IP address to reach to it, you are using the service to reach to it. And the host name, generally it can be like an FQDN, um, and or it can be like this service name. In our case it is MySQL and we're using the password to get in and we were able to connect it. And also we have used secrets to store our secret and use that in our exercise. This is a state, this is a deployment, it's not a rolling update because it has the type recreate, not rolling. So if you see, the strategy is recreate. So that is how you create a deployment, a single instance stateful application using a deployment and also a persistent volume. I'll see you in the next video. Until then, happy learning. Bye.